Good morning, friends. I am Dr. Gulfisha Firdaus Ahmad, College of Agriculture, Pawar Kheda, JNKVV, Jabalpur. Today, I am giving the lecture on Geo-informatics and nanotechnology. The topic of my lecture is Introduction to Geo-informatics. Now, I would like to explain what is geoinformatics and what does the meaning of informatics and geoinformatics. First of all, I will explain informatics, the science of processing data for storage and retrieval information science. It is the study of the structure, behavior and interaction of natural and engineered computational systems. The term geoinformatics is a combination of two words, geology or geography and informatics. The realm of geoinformatics is very broad because it comprises of subjects like remote sensing, GPS, GIS, cartography, hydrology, climatology, aerial photography, photogrammetry, etc. Now the components of geoinformatics are explained briefly in this slide. Computer science. Informatics as a discipline comprises of both the computer technology, that is hardware and software. The important role of information derives from our necessity to manage more and more numerous and complex data in every field. Geodesy. Geodesy, also known as geodetics, is the discipline that deals with the measurement and representation of the earth. Geodesy is defined as the science concerned with the study of shape and area of the earth. Geodesy is also defined as the shape and dimension of the earth through its two branches. First is gravimetry and second is depositing astronomy. Now, what is gravimetry? It deals with the determination of the earth gravity and its anomalies, and the gravity determines the shape of the earth. Now, astronomy. Astronomy is the Greek word that is a natural science that studies celestial objects and the phenomena. It uses mathematics, physics and chemistry in order to explain their origin and evolution. A natural object which is located outside of Earth's atmosphere, such as the moon, the sun, as an asteroids, planets or the star, are known as celestial objects. Now, cartography. Cartography is generally considered to be the science and art of designing, constructing and producing maps. It includes almost every operation from original field work to final printing and marketing of map. It is also treated as a science of human communication. Photogrammetry. Photogrammetry is the technology developed for determining the geometric properties of objects from their photographic images. Photogrammetry is concerned with making measurement about position and shape of objects with the help of photographs. Now, the most important component of geoinformatics is remote sensing. It is the scanning of the earth by satellites or high-flying aircraft in order to obtain information about it. The main components of remote sensing: first is energy source illumination, A, radiation and the atmosphere, B, interaction with target, C, recording of energy by the sensor, D, transmission, reception and processing, E, interpretation and analysis, F, application is G. This diagram shows the components of remote sensing. Now, concept of remote sensing. When electromagnetic radiation falls upon a surface, some of its energy is absorbed while some is transmitted through the surface and the rest is reflected. Surfaces also naturally emit radiation in the form of heat. Photographic films or digital sensors in the satellites or aerial vehicle recorded the reflected and emitted radiation. Since the intensity and wavelength of this radiation depends on the nature of surface, each surface is described as possessing a characteristic spectral signature. Now, the second one most important component is Global Positioning System, GPS. GPS is originally Navstar GPS, is a satellite-based radio navigation system owned by the United States government and operated by the United States Space Force. Real-world application of GPS fall into following 5 broad categories: location, determining a basic position; navigation, getting from one location to another; tracking, monitoring the movement of people, animals and goods; mapping, it creating maps of the world. One of the application GPS gaining momentum is the location-based service, LBS. The GPS concept is based on time and the known position of GPS specialized satellite. The satellites carry very stable atomic clock data synchronized with one another and with ground clock. Any drift from time maintained on the ground is corrected daily. Now, this diagram shows the components of GPS. There are 3 main components of the GPS: satellite segment, user segment and control segment. Now, these 3 components are explained in briefly. First is space component, consists of about 31 GPS satellites. The United States Air Force operates these 31 satellites plus 3 to 4 decommissioned satellites that can be reactivated if needed. At any given moment, a minimum of 24 satellites is operational in a specially designed orbit. This orbit ensures that at least 4 satellites are in view at the same time from almost any point on Earth. The second one is the control segment, is made up of a series of ground stations used to interpret and relay satellite signals to various receivers. Ground stations includes a master control station, an alternate master control station, 12 ground antennas and 16 monitoring stations. The third is component is GPS is the user segment. The user segment of the GPS system involves various receivers from all different types of industries. National security, agriculture, space, surveying and mapping are all examples of end user in the GPS system. In aviation, the user is typically the pilot who views GPS data on display in the cockpit of the aircraft. Now, this is the working of GPS, how vehicle tracking works. This diagram shows the working of GPS. Now, Geographic Information System. A Geographic Information System is a framework for gathering, managing and analyzing data rooted in the science of geography. GIS integrates many types of data. It analyzes spatial location and organizes layers of information into visualization and using maps and 3D scenes. There are 4 main ideas of Geographic Information System: create geographic data, manage it in a database, analyze and find patterns, visualize it on a map. Components. Now, the components of Geographic Information System. The 3 main components of Geographic Information System is people, data, hardware and software, and methods and procedures. First is data. GIS store location data as thematic layer. Each data set has an attribute table that store information about the feature. The 2 main types of GIS data are raster data and vector data. First is raster data. Raster look like grids because they store data in rows and columns. They can be discrete or continuous. For example, we often represent land cover, temperature data and imagery. This diagram shows the raster data. Now, vector data. Vectors are points or dots, lines and polygons with vertices. For example, trees, poles, fire hydrants, contours and administrative boundaries are often vector. This diagram shows the vector data. Now, GIS components. Now, the second component is hardware. Hardware runs GIS software. It could be anything from powerful servers, mobile phones or a personal GIS workstation. The CPU is your workhorse and data processing is the name of the game. Dual monitor, extra storage and crisp graphic processing cards are must-haves too in GIS. Software ArcGIS and QGIS are the leader in GIS software. GIS software is specialized in spatial analysis by using maths in map. It blends geography with modern technology to measure, quantify, and understand our world. Now, GIS software in detail. ArcGIS. It is mapping and analytic platform. It provides contextual tools for mapping and spatial reasoning so you can explore data and share location-based insights. QGIS is a quantum GIS is a free and open source cross-platform desktop geographic information application that supports viewing, editing, and analysis of geospatial data. What is geospatial data? Spatial data where specified location is stored in a shapefile, geographic database or geographic file. It also known as geospatial data or geographic information. It is the data or information that identifies the geographic location of features and boundaries on Earth such as natural or constructed feature, oceans and more. Spatial data is usually stored as coordinates and topology, and it is data that can be mapped. Now, what is coordinate? Each of a group of numbers used to indicate the position of a point, line or plane. Topology, the study of geometrical properties and spatial relation unaffected by the continuous change of shape or size of figure. The way in which constituent parts are interrelated or arranged is also known as topology. Now, this is all about the basic of geoinformatics and components. With this, I wish all the best. Thank you very much. And in the next video, we are going to work on image processing. Thank you so much.